Hi there, it's your friendly guitar teacher here to give you the third in a series of beginner guitar lessons. And today, first thing we're going to do is just go over that wonderful song we learned in the last lesson, Skip to My Lou. The reason being is that I want to make sure that you can, more or less keep up with that before we move on. So this is a good test. If you have trouble with it still, then you need to slow down and go back over it again a few times. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't worry about that. But if you're starting to get the idea of it, that's what we want to see. So let's start with Skip to My Lou. I'm going to count to 4, and then we're going to start playing, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou, then A. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Skip to my Lou, my darling. Lou, skip to my Lou. Lou, skip to my Lou. Lou, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. I'll find another one prettier than you. I'll find another one prettier than you. I'll find another one prettier than you. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Last verse, here we go. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Good. All right. So if you're doing okay with that, you can always go back to it. I know it'll get a little tiring after a while, but that's the whole point, right? You have to practice, practice, practice. So if you're doing okay with that, then we're going to move on to a new chord today. And this chord is a G. Now, I just want to explain that there are, as with most chords, there's more than one way to play a G. So I've written it down on a diagram here, but you remember the sheet that we have. I haven't written it down here yet, but you can write it down on that sheet or anywhere. And this is how we play a G. So we have the first finger is on the 5th string in the 2nd fret. The second finger is on the top string this time, the big fat string, in the 3rd fret. And down here you'll notice that we have your baby finger, your 4th finger. So that's what we want to use for the way we're playing G, but some people use another finger. So let's put it on here. Just start out with the first finger. So we're on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. That's the 2nd string from the top. Then we're 2nd finger, top string in the 3rd fret. And then your baby finger down here in the 3rd fret. So it's a little awkward at first, but I'll tell you why I use my baby finger. Some people use their 3rd finger. There's nothing wrong with using your 3rd finger. But the reason I teach you to use your baby finger is because in the very beginning, there are a lot of 3-finger chords. So the baby finger doesn't get a lot of work. And then all of a sudden, you'll come across a chord that needs 4 fingers. And that baby finger has no callus and it's totally weak. That's the weakest finger anyway. So the sooner you start using it and build up a callus, the better. Trust me on that one. You can defy me and use your 3rd finger or whatever you like. That's fine. Anyway, so let's try that again. So 1st finger, 5th string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger, top string, 3rd fret, and the baby finger down here on the 3rd fret. Now this ring finger here, sometimes it doesn't know what to do with itself. The most you need to do is to make sure it's not touching anything. It doesn't have to stick out, it doesn't have to tuck under, it just has to not touch anything. Eventually, it'll kind of figure itself out. So when we strum a G, we strum all 6 strings. So try that out. You might get some buzzing or dead sounds. Sometimes these 2 fingers don't want to split apart very much, so you might get some of that. But try to push it a little further down. And that's the sound of a G. So I'm going to count to 4, and we're going to strum G a little bit, okay? You need to just stop the recording and try it yourself. Try to get in the right position. I'm going to count to 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're strumming. That's it. At least you don't have to think about just strumming a few strings. It's all 6. A lot of people like the sound of G because it's kind of a big sound compared to the other 2. But it is a little awkward to get these fingers on there right for a period of time. It will get easier, I promise. Now, of course, the main thing we have to learn is how to transition to a G. So we're going to start off with the D chord, because the song we're going to learn next actually goes from D to G. But because we know D just a little better, we're actually going to do it the opposite way. We're going to start with G, and we're going to move to D. So why don't you do that a few times? Find your G, place your fingers down, and then find your way back to D. Go back and forth, back and forth. Again, this is a great way just to practice chords, transitioning between chords without disturbing anybody, which can come in handy these days since we're all kind of stuck together. Well, some of us are. Okay, so D and G and D and back again. And even just, again, stop this video and do it a few times before we move on, just to teach them where they're going. But the idea, of course, when we start strumming, like I've said before, and I'll keep saying, is you keep the arm moving. Don't stop, even though you're fumbling around trying to find G. Don't stop. Just keep that hand strumming, and eventually this hand will catch up. So let's go to G. I'll give you a second to get there. Find your G. And then we're going to strum G, just as we did before the other chords, was strum G 8 times, and then we'll go back to D. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going 8 times. 5, 6, 7. Back to D. 1, 2, 3. You getting there yet? So maybe you made it. Maybe you didn't to the last strum. That's okay. It'll get better. So let's find G again. Take a moment. Find your way back to G. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to strum G 8 times and then back to D. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here comes D. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A little better this time, maybe? We're going to try it one more time this way, and then we'll work with A and G. Okay, so G to D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then D. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, maybe you're getting better. Let's find A this time. So again, A is sometimes for some people is a little easier to find because they're all 3 fingers in a row if you play it that way. We're going to go from A to G. In this case, your first finger is just 1 string lower with A. So all you have to do is shift it up 1 string to start your G chord. Then 2 and then 4. So let's try that again. Let's go back to A. Then you're going to shift your first finger up 1 string, then your second finger, and then your 4th finger. So try that a few times, just doing the shift. G, and then back to A, back and forth, as much as you can do. Now, how are your fingers doing these days? A little tender maybe? Or maybe they're starting to toughen up a little bit. Depends on how quickly you've gone through these videos. But if you've taken your time with them, you might be starting to get the feeling of callus. Actually, what happens first is that your fingers get numb. That's the first sign. And then you'll get that big thick skin on the end of them. And then it won't hurt so much. So back and forth a couple more times. And then we're going to do A to G. Okay. All right. So now I want you to find A. Okay. And we're going to strum A 8 times and then switch to G. All right. So let's go back to A. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then G. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How'd you do? Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go back and forth. Now we're pushing the envelope. So we're going to start with G. We're going to do 8 G's. Then we'll go to A, 8 A's, and back to G again. We'll just do that much. So we're starting with G. So let's find your G. Take your time. And now we're going to start strumming. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then A. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you there yet? Because we're going back to G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what you can work on your own for the next little while, going from D to G and back again, and going from A to G and back again, and back and forth as much as you can. We'll do a little bit more practice on that in the next video as well. And our next song is going to be an old Beatles song, a simplified version of a Beatles song, and a much slower version of Saw Her Standing There. All the songs we do in the beginning are ballads. Well, they're ballad versions of songs, because we can only go so fast. And that's something, a point I'd like to make, is that you have to slow down. Slow down and try to play and strum as slowly as you need to in order to change chords. It's actually hard to play slow and to feel a groove, to feel something, any momentum, but it's the best thing to do in the beginning. So the next thing I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you a strum pattern. Now we have just been strumming down and up because it's a lot simpler to just do that in the beginning. And when you're practicing the chords, switching between chords, just do the down and up strum. Don't do this strum that I'm going to show you. But I do want to give your fingers a little break here and show you something different. So this is how I write down the strum pattern. You'll notice a series of arrows and a count down below. And then you'll notice one strum, this one here, the second one up, is grayed out. And that's because we don't actually strum the strings. We move up, but we don't touch the strings when we're doing that strum. So what I'm going to do now, and you'll see at the bottom there, there's a count, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So we're still moving all the time, and this is the key to strumming. Always keep this arm in motion. You'll notice that really good guitar players are constantly moving, even if they're creating a rhythm that doesn't sound like they're hitting the strings all the time. They're always moving. So I'm going to strum this no chord, just the open strings, and I'll show you how it sounds. I'm going to count us in, but I'm going to do it myself first if you like, but you can follow me if you want to. Just going to do it once. It sounds like this: 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? So you noticed I went down and then I went up, but I didn't hit the strings that first time. That's what that grayed out arrow is. So now what I want to do is to play it with you a few times. Okay? Strumming patterns take a little while, but so don't worry if you don't get it right away. Just rewind, go back and try again, but we'll do it a few times here. I'm going to count us in: 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and the next one is 1 again: 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and keep going: 1 space, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, and we're going to do it one more time: 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and good. So keep working on that. Write this down if you need to, or print it out. It's available on my webpage. Links below if you're on YouTube. Also, the next song, Saw Her Standing There, the link is available for you to print out if you can print out. And next time, we're going to continue working with G and D and A, and we'll start a little bit of the song. So keep practicing. Don't have to do it too fast. A little bit every day. Your fingers will get more calloused over time. And when you practice 5 or 10 minutes at a time if you get sore fingers, and then stop and come back to it later. You know, as many times as you want. Another thing you might do to sort of remind yourself is to keep your guitar out where you can see it. So as long as you see it, that will remind you to play it. Until next time, happy playing, and we'll see you then.